Okay.
It says we're live, but
Yeah,
right now we're
live.
not actually live. We're troubleshooting.
Yeah. Well, we decided to start 5 minutes early in case we had to troubleshoot. Wasn't sure we weren't going to have to troubleshoot.
So what we need is for y'all in the chat to tell us if you can hear us and see us.
Sure, they can see us. The hearing is the part that got concerns.
I'm not even sure about the seeing after yesterday.
Come on, guys. Come on. Can you hear us?
Okay, I'm seeing a 5x5, so
All
that's
right.
a good thing. All right.
All right. I guess we're live.
Yay.
Sound and video here. Yay.
Yay.
Woohoo. Okay. Let's get the first things, and then I've
Yes.
got a bit of a rant about y'all.
I evidently have a want
Yeah,
today.
about somebody, person or persons unknown. Anyway, if you want to keep the internet functioning at the Blanket Fort, donate here.
And possibly an upgrade to equipment because, well,
I was telling the girls earlier, I'm afraid we're getting to the point we need a semi-professional, professional recording studio. If you like coffee, and if you're on here, you don't like coffee. Why are you on here?
well, because some people like tea, and his ear is inside out.
Okay. Order from here. Let them know you heard about it here. Okay, guys. I've got a bit of a rant. One of you Weisenheimers signed me up for a monkey rescue charity.
Wasn't me.
No. Today was apparently their fundraising drive.
Oh, no.
I got a call way too early in the morning, and I thought it was one of you guys taking a piss. And I was about 5 minutes into a monkey rant when I realized it wasn't. That little girl's going to need therapy. Yeah. Some monkey foundation has some little girl curled up in the corner right now crying because I thought it was you guys and went off on a monkey rant.
Oh, this poor girl.
It was about right after I enunciated the sound a monkey makes when fired out of an air cannon into a 55-gallon drum when I suddenly realized she was serious. So, the Monkey Rescue Foundation or whatever, y'all are nuts, but I'm sorry.
Oh, and the worst of it is that kid is probably some poor unpaid intern
Unpaid college student
doing
intern.
her dues.
She was so perky, and it's like, okay, this is someone taking a piss.
Definitely a college intern.
Whoa! Is the noise I want to hear from monkeys. And then I realized she's serious.
So she's gotten an education. More than she bargained for.
As educations go, it's actually fairly tame.
So, today is Thursday, and I've been woken up way too early the damn morning. At 1 minute past 8 o'clock local time, by the way. They are dead on the nuts as far as fundraising goes.
Oh, my God. I was asleep.
That is really, I mean, I'm a morning person, and that is too early for a fundraising phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
It's like, this is so-and-so from the Save the Monkey Foundation. I thought, okay. It's that kind of day.
Oh, no. Todd's right, you are the person from whom they wish to rescue the monkeys.
Not gonna lie. I did get the part about they make sucky oven mitts because they go inside out when you pull your hand out.
So your number's now on a blacklist.
I hope so.
Oh, God, why?
I actually kind of felt sorry for her because sounded like she was almost crying. Which, I said, this isn't a joke, is it? No, sir. Oh, shit. I'm so sorry. Not about the monkeys, but.
This is the problem with American education these days. Because these kids go off to school and get themselves into tens of thousands, if not $100,000 worth of debt. and do these stupid unpaid internships where they get monkey abuse.
Monkey abuse is a right.
Because if they
I
were
told
going to
her that.
abuse monkeys in a lab, it would be a damn paid internship.
This is true.
And then, with all of this student loan debt, they go off and work in a nonprofit organization. Or if they're lucky, they make $36,000 a year and get monkey abuse.
And they have to listen to me ranting about how you turn monkeys inside out and they make sucky oven mitts. It's will you donate $50 to rescue monkeys from labs? I'll donate $100 to put more in the labs. And it went downhill from there.
Speaking of downhill, Courtney's over here working on a milkshake, and I think she's just trying to prove the breathability of.
Not a good thing to wake me up on my day off, wanting to save those bloody oven mitts. Okay, poor monkeys. Not really. So it's Thursday. Jim isn't here. Jim is off in Oklahoma doing Oklahoma things,
Yes.
probably with monkeys. But not for the Save the Monkey Foundation, that's for damn sure, because they're probably taking the day off. So do we have anything we need to talk about other than poor unpaid interns getting verbally abused with monkeys?
I'm starting to feel for interns. Okay, intern Steve is getting paid, but not by us.
The intern Steve is getting paid, and he's not going to have to put up with monkeys, so
That's true.
he's getting double paid.
And,
Excuse me, there's a pink monkey around here somewhere.
He's over there in the box where he belongs, under a heavy weight.
and Logan's looking for his internship, and that's
Good for him.
yeah.
That was actually one of the things that I did wrong, because when I went back to school as a non-traditional student, I was working sometimes 2 jobs and taking a very heavy class load. So I did not pursue any internships, and I should have. If I had really wanted to go into research, and I didn't realize this, and nobody explained it to me, because college is helping people get into the careers they actually want. What is a shocking concept. But so I didn't do any internships, and I mean, I'm STEM, so they would have been paid internships, but it was a decision that I made to keep doing the jobs that I was doing and not go off and get paid like $10 an hour to be a lab monkey.
Bad description. Bad description.
So, and it was because then when I got out of school, because I'm a lowly BS, so I don't have an advanced degree, and I didn't have any independent research. So getting into research was really difficult, and I wound up in industry, which 7 years later, I'm like, that was not where I wanted to be, but it's too late now. Unless I go back to school for another degree. And that's the other trap that they get you into, is that once you get one degree, it's not enough. You need more.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, lamb meat tastes like lanolin? Yes, differs. It's supposed to taste like lanolin. Lanolin is a sheep product. Of course, it shouldn't taste too much like lanolin, but that depends on how the meat has been handled. Mutton's going to taste even more like lanolin.
Mm-hmm.
Mutton is given the speaking of, there might be 50 pounds of cubed goat heading towards your freezer.
Yay!
If I have a choice between sheep and goat, I'm going goat every time. Goat's good meat. Sheep, adult sheep, mutton is.
Mutton is most Americans will never encounter mutton. They might encounter lamb once or twice a year.
Lamb's not bad. Mutton is a hard sell for me. Mutton was everywhere when I was growing up.
Mutton tastes like lanolin. And she's not wrong. So, yeah, it's difficult. And it's the other thing that up visiting with friends this weekend, we had some really nice long talks, which was lovely. And one of the things that we were talking about was elk meat and the fact that I miss because we always had that when I was a kid. Um, Dad or other family would go out and get elk in Oregon, and I miss that.
Mhm.
And I
Elk is
miss
good.
moose, but
Gazelle. I miss hippo.
hippo I've never gotten to try and probably never will.
Hippo is really good meat. If you cook it right.
Yeah. Well, and that's true for most anything, is that you can cook it really badly. I mean, heck, you can cook chicken wrong, and then you get the infamous rubber chicken.
Rubber chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, elk is good. Moose is good. Elk's
Mhm.
better. I think elk and gazelle are probably the best game meats I've ever had.
Yeah.
Gazelle and elk are virtually indistinguishable.
How about antelope? I've never had a chance to try that.
I I had antelope shoulder one time, rocket goat from the Panhandle, and Mom had this. My mother had this
There are no wild hippos in Texas, and we don't want any.
abuelita that. Oh, no, hippos are bad. Had this abuelita, and she heard I had this. She said, "Mijo, give me that antelope." All right, here you go. Give me the antelope. I didn't know what I was going to get. And
Mhm.
she sent back tamales,
Ooh.
and I was hacked. I
Uh-huh.
was hacked off. My antelope shoulder had gone, and then I tried one,
Mhm.
and I forgave her.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Driving up into Colorado, I surprised a couple of mule deer,
oh yeah.
and then when we were hiking, we flushed out a couple of whitetails,
Oh, that's
which
bad.
which
That's
I
bad.
which I initially thought were mules because, and I was at the wrong angle to see the tail flags. My hiking partner, who I don't know if is on here or not, saw the flags, so she was able to tell me that they get really big there because they're corn fed.
Yeah,
There's lots of farm country.
The thing about
So I was like, those were really big whitetails.
you need those whitetails need to be thumped with quickness because if you have mule deer territory, if whitetail move in, they'll run the mule deer off.
This was about an hour's drive apart, the two sightings. So
And you go up there and whack those whitetails because they'll run the muleys off.
they were in a national park. You can't
Okay,
not talk about it.
technically speaking, I probably shouldn't, but I assure you, I can whack those whitetails.
Oh.
I
That's what she said.
Oh, and here we go.
Oh my.
And
This took us all of 12 minutes.
Here
Yep.
we go. Here we go. Oh, let's see. Okay.
Okay.
Off the subject. change the
100
subject.
spayed hippos sounds like just a really bad idea because, first of all,
You have to spay them.
and second of all, what happens if one of those snips doesn't take?
Here's your rubber band gun. There's the hippos. Knock yourselves out. Thwack. Roar! Squat, 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 squat. Okay. So books are going well.
Yes, books
I
seem to
haven't
be
seen
selling.
Jonna on here yet.
No,
She's-
no, Jonah.
She was going to the beach.
Oh, good.
I'm glad she's going to the beach. Go to the beach for us, Jonah.
Yeah,
Tell her I said hi.
I
Well, the
miss
beach as it is in Oregon, so.
I miss the sea a lot.
Mhm.
Oh, just run gators in the river.
Gators and the hippos, there's a little size differential going on there.
Also, the gators tend to lose.
Yeah.
When it comes down to hippos, the gators tend to lose.
There's a size
Mhm.
differential there.
Yeah.
Um,
And the hippos get disrespectful when the gators are losing too.
RK asks about my hair supporting hair stabbies. No, currently my hair does not pull back to a length to do much of anything. So give it a couple of months and I'll be back to wearing them.
Yes, hippos still kill more folks worldwide than anything else. Their body count is spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, there's nothing, when I say hippos get disrespectful, after they get done stomping a crock flat, they'll fertilize it.
Yeah, and hippos make a show of fertilizing. There's videos out there if you
Yep.
really want to know.
It's like a claymore of poo. Oh, I'm in a mood today. That poor little girl.
Oh.
she got me off in a mood. That's not good. Who does not want to acquire large tracts of land?
Just what are we saying here differs.
No, I'm not going there.
No.
Change the subject.
So-
Books are going well. Your Honor, I Can Explain has taken off like a rocket.
Yeah, selling really well.
Yeah.
So good to see that. And I don't think we don't have another book release anytime soon, do we? We've got a little pause.
So we have a little pause. The
So we
next
can
one
breathe.
is
Holy crap.
we may have scheduled that in on purpose because now I'm not only face down in Pecan, but like last minute everything details for Pecan, including
Yeah.
So we have the Texas Troublemakers booth at Pecan. We've got a table for Texas Troublemakers, one for Raconteur Press, and one for Sanderly Studios.
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that one.
Surprise.
You have enough stuff that we figured out we could fill another table. So,
Okay.
But North Texas Troublemakers is for people who are affiliated with North Texas Troublemakers. So
Yeah.
I'll be sending out an email and or a post about that soon.
Good. Yeah, because I know I have flyers from N3F from George Phillies
Mhm.
to put out at the con. He sent me a bunch of them that are different patterns, designs on them.
Yeah.
So, which he's always trying to recruit more people to join the mailing list for the fanzines for that. So it's kind of cool because I don't know that it's the oldest fan organization still hanging around, but it started in 1942. So
it's up there.
it's
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, it might be
Well
the
done.
longest continuous. And Kevin Trainer, who did Son of SilverCon this year, is involved with it. I've been roped into it in various ways over the years, although I'm not currently active with it. But it's National Fantasy Fan Federation, so N3F, and it's pretty laid back. I mean, literally, it's fanzines in the old school sense that you just
good.
don't see anymore.
Oh,
And
good.
if you want and you pay dues, I forget what it is. It's not very much. You'll actually get the fanzines in the mail, and they will look like
Oh,
fanzines
wow.
looked back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
It
very
is.
cool.
It is. And I mean, I think they're losing money on them because the dues aren't very much. I can't remember. I occasionally send them some money from PayPal, but I don't have the paper ones coming to the house anymore. I did for a while, just because I don't have time to do them justice. So
These fields, I know them.
yeah, reading becomes difficult after a while, and there's things I have to read for professional reasons,
Yep.
which is hardly a pain, really, but it does mean that I don't have a lot of time for pleasure reading.
No, and pleasure has started getting difficult for me.
Yeah.
I'm reading all these stories, and I'm reading them. You know, the literally hundreds of stories we've gotten over the last however long.
And Jonna said she woke up this morning to 10 stories in the submission folder.
Bloody hell!
No, 12 stories.
Yay.
12 stories.
Yay!
Y'all are doing good. Thank you. Keep
yeah,
them up.
keep 'em up.
And there's 9 hours left in the day. So
Yeah. We'll be getting stories right up until midnight, if not
And
slightly after.
And we'll have some come out in after. You know as well as I do.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm reading
Yeah.
these stories for editing purposes. even though-
Differs. You may not adopt 13 black cats at once. No. Sorry. Go ahead. Carry on.
Wow. 13?
It says local
Yeah, I saw
shelters,
that.
13 black cats for adoption. No, not all of them.
Please. So I've been going through reading these with an eye towards editing.
Mhm.
And I noticed yesterday at the gym, they've got the Ace Reed cowboy calendars in the back, and there was a misspelling. And it drove me nuts the entire time I was getting dressed out to work out. That one misspelled word was across the room was driving me nuts.
Mhm.
it's one of the reasons why I will take a weekend, and there'll be times when, like, guys, I'm taking the weekend to go and read something else.
Yeah.
I will work, which is why I work my way through like the Bear series, or I'll catch up on some of the other series that I'm on that have nothing to do with any of the anthologies that we're doing.
Yeah,
And it's also part of the reason why I don't really want to do a romance anthology, because that's
your pleasure read.
my pleasure read. I
Yeah.
don't want to have to read it for work, because then I'll go and start. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
And we should probably have backup for you too. So if we do
Mhm.
ever do an anthology that you're like, nope, don't wanna,
mhm,
we can have somebody
That's
else.
why I've had Rita
We
doing
can make
the
make
Moggies.
Sarah do it.
mhm.
That's why I've had Rita doing the Moggies. So we
Yeah.
got a backup.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, backup is good.
Yeah. And one of the things that intern Steve is going to be working with me on is reading through all the slush and
Yeah.
and going through and talking about what works, what doesn't work, and how to fix it.
Dear intern Steve, fire hose.
Oh, I already gave him a list of suggested reading before he even starts.
I had an unexpected night off in a hotel room all by myself, which wasn't planned, and actually turned out, of all the things that could have happened, that turned out the best possible scenario in all the ways. Yes, the tire went out, and yes, it was on 287 where flow of traffic through there is like 85, lots of semis. But I got off the road safely, and I got off right by a little farm road so I could get off into the Delta all the way into the grass.
Mhm.
So I was way off 287. And then,
It's not like they couldn't see you for 50 miles away. It's the panhandle.
right, well,
Stand on tuna can and watch your dog run away for 3 days.
this was actually, there was a little roll dip up, and but then the first thing I did when the car came safely to a stop was look at my cell phone, and I had 2 bars. I was like, thank God.
Panhandle. I'm surprised you had 2 bars.
So I was really happy, because there's definitely some stretches of road up there where I have no service. So I got a hold of roadside assistance, and they were right on it. They had a little confusion about where I was. Tow truck driver wasn't sure he could find me. But then I had like an hour and a half to kill, and there were flowers and bugs, and I had my cameras, and the tow truck driver was very firm with me of, you are not driving home on a donut. And
welcome to Panhandle.
and no, he was really sweet.
Yeah.
And he also
You just
said,
became everybody's little sister. Welcome to Panhandle.
yes. He also said that usually it says not to drive over 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But he said, if I drive 50 or 55 on 287, I'll be a road hazard. So do 60. Go to Clarendon, stay in the hotel. The tire shop will open in the morning. He was like, he laid it all out for me. And the only thing I didn't do was, he had told me to go stay in the more expensive hotel, and I stayed in the cheap hotel. But it was very clean, and it had been freshly painted in some fun, bright colors. And I mean, this hotel room was clean. I've definitely been in some name brand hotels that were not that clean, and the bed was actually comfortable. So I had a very pleasant evening where I didn't have anything to worry about.
Oh, didn't it?
Yeah, it was very odd. So it was.
I vaguely remember those days.
Well, it doesn't happen for me very often.
I remember those days.
I had initially said I was going to write, because I'm like, I have my writing laptop. I'll sit here and write. I read. I had a book and I read. So
I have been meaning. I love Jim Butcher's Dresden series. I love all 3 of his series. I really, really do favor the Dresden series. I've been planning on reading the last 2 since they came out, and I haven't gotten around to it yet, which is how much reading I've been doing, because I haven't read those 2 books yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have been binging an old friend. I'm reading Marjorie Allingham, reading through the Campion series, which I have read before, but it's been a while. So
Mikato's building me a Piat.
to shoot rubber ducks into the audience. Oh dear. How about up over the audience, so you don't necessarily center punch someone with a rubber duck, 'cause that could go bad.
The Piat was not a direct fire weapon. I don't care what the Brits said. Piat is a projectile infantry anti-tank, and it punted this lead
Projectile
football.
infantry, so it wasn't shooting an infantry guy?
No. It was designed allegedly for use by the infantry, and after you dislocated most of the arms or shoulders in the unit, they stopped doing that. Yay. I sat down, and what I was doing, welcome to my world. I actually wound up short of my meds for about 4 days had some issues with supply.
Oh,
Shocking.
Yeah,
that's not good.
and I was short my my maintenance meds, and the thinking got really clear there for a while. Back on my meds, and I didn't realize how much the statins and the
Mhm.
3 different blood pressure meds were shutting down my thinking. But holy gods,
Mm-hmm.
me and my doctor need to have a talk.
I was just
Yes,
gonna
you
say
do.
you need to have a chat with your doctor because there are options for most things these days. So that's something
I need to be off the statin.
to follow up with. You might not be able to get off the statin, but there's still options. So
Yeah, so I didn't realize how bad it was
Mhm.
clamping down on my, and a lot of the fidgeting you see went away for 4 days.
Mm.
So,
How
Let's-
far could a rubber duck be propelled with a 30-06 blank? You know, I talk about buying 10 plus acres for hunting over, but also if you had enough acreage, you could do
for
experiments,
experiments,
like that.
I don't know. I don't know.
Exactly. This is what we need to do is experiments with PVC pipes or or something.
30-06 blank will launch a rubber ducky a good long distance,
Mhm.
probably until drag took over, because rubber ducks suck for aerodynamics.
I mean, I've got some random bits of oil field pipe laying around at my house because that's what they were building everything from out of at my house.
That's what they had. Was what they had available was oil field pipe. Let's see here. What else? So press is coming along nicely,
Blowing stuff up.
blowing stuff up, which we covered food and blowing stuff up, and monkeys. Somebody needs to ding King Harv's, David at King Harv's, and tell him to answer or look at his emails.
You can do that.
We can do
I
that.
sent him an email and he hasn't responded to it yet, which concerns me a bit.
Well, he may be busy. If he's located where I think he is, he's having problems with the dahlia.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an excuse.
If you don't have power, it is.
I sent him that email way before Idalia
Okay.
decided to ground zero
Okay.
America's trunk.
Rubber duck with discarding sabo. You know, I think that could be done with 3D printing, and we've got some people that.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I love this idea. I'm getting worried. When people start loving ideas, I start getting worried.
Demolition Ranch North.
That's how I wind up with an 801 phone call from the Monkey Rescue Foundation. And I scar some poor college kid for life. That poor girl. She's going to need so much therapy.
Oh.
Foop! Wong! Oh, shit. This isn't a joke call.
Tabletop
Damn it.
onager to heave the duckies into the audience actually sounds like it would work. You could walk into
Uh,
a panel with that under your arm, set it down on the table, and
Actually, I'd rather have a HK grenade launcher and just, you get a duck! Wham!
con security might have issues.
Not if I have a hypersonic duck launcher. They won't. Yeah, issues all they want. But look, call security. Wham!
You know,
Send another one. That one's used.
you and Jim did the con security stuff that I pulled into the blog
Uh-huh.
post recently. I'm thinking we need some new con security messages.
Well, we can do that. We
Those
can
were
do
fun
that.
to illustrate.
They were fun to write.
Oh,
No, it's not the, well, I guess it's 69. It's the one after that, the GLG. No, that's the fully auto one. There's a pistol version they use that I could stick a rubber duck in or a monkey. I don't care either way. And I could hit the back row. You get a duck, sir! Whang! And knock him right out of his chair. I could knock call security back out of the room if I had to.
quack quack.
You know how SeaWorld has the splash zone, the duck zone.
We have a duck zone. We already have a duck zone. For those of you who don't know, it was LibertyCon?
Well, the ducks
No.
started at Talcon.
No, this is when I started heaving them at people.
Yeah, it was LibertyCon.
Hucking
We had our ducks in a
Yeah,
row.
we were proving we had our ducks in a row, at the this is Raconteur Press. We lined them up in the front of the, and I was hungover and
Oh,
looking
no.
for things to do. Because she says, "Oh no, he was hungover." So everybody asked a question. I hucked a duck at him.
Sis boom ba, the sound made when a sheep explodes. That's courtesy of Raptor. Hmm.
Sis, boom, oh dear, it's just going. Now we're off into sheep jokes. This is why we need Jim.
Oh,
So anyway, so the duck thing has become
A thing.
a thing. The duck thing has become a thing. So
we had them at TollCon, and we had them in
we had him in the shower,
the shower. and-
Yes.
staring at you when you went to the bathroom.
I've got photos somewhere of that.
That was fun.
They were staring at you when you went to the bathroom, which is a little creepy. And we were given, if you showed up, you got a duck.
Right.
Congratulations, here's your Raconteur Press Memorial Duck. And people were staring at me when I handed them a duck. It's like,
Why? Why not?
Memorial duck. I yelled at somebody that left their memorial duck. Hey, get your duck!
And then later he graduated to chucking ducks. So
Now I'm hucking ducks. You sir, get a duck. Wing!
It's like pumpkin chunkin', only like smaller.
Duckling chucking.
and featherier.
The look on that one poor guy's face. The first one I hooked the duck at. Oh dear, the look on his face when a duck keeps sailing at him. Poof.
Oh, it's funny. We're talking about ducks, and I've been prepping images for the pecan postcard images for the
I've seen
prompts.
some of them. They've been great.
And emus are becoming a thing. I've done emu images for the last couple of cons
Wow.
because emu stories.
It's a 6-foot chicken.
Yeah,
Deal with it.
it makes a great image and funny ideas. And that's
Okay.
and that's why I put the thing in North Texas Troublemakers in the Facebook group today about that, because I was curious to see, now that people are familiar with the postcard concept, it's like, okay, what do you guys want to see impromptu images other than just whatever amuses me?
I was interested to see the responses on that.
Yeah. Sam Robb was really insightful with that. I liked his
Yeah.
response.
Mhm.
So it's along the lines of what I've tried to do anyway, is that I will put in some images that are just like a building or a landscape.
Apparently, those aren't popular.
Right. Some people like them, but not very many. Most
Right.
people want a person. And it's the same as true for book covers. And most people want a person to look at and engages them. And it doesn't have to be a human. So, I mean, the cat and the top hat that I created for Maugie's,
Nice.
that was me messing around, edging towards a Maugie's Noir cover. I won't use that one, but there's other things. But just that would be enough to create stories in someone's head, because it's not a person, but it's definitely a relatable character.
That's another thing
So,
that now being a publisher has ruined for me, because I was looking at books I might consider reading, and then I got on the group Raconteur Press chat. These covers suck. I'm looking at it and saying, that's a terrible cover. That face doesn't match. It's like, what the hell? Oh
Yeah.
my God, I'm screwed.
bad composite art is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why I jumped on Midjourney with both feet, because it enables me to create stock art,
Well, when you can
custom and cohesive.
when you can see where they cut and pasted a face to a body, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Australia lost wars to frogs, rabbits, and emus,
and foxes.
and foxes. I mean,
They lost the war with rabbits, so they
they
brought
brought foxes in.
in to take care of rabbits. Foxes went, hello.
As you do.
No natural
Like they do.
If we're launching emus, we will need a bigger blank. Jason didn't care.
We need a trebuchet. Well, it'd be a good way to find out if the wings actually add to the glide aspect.
Emus are not going to glide. Emus are going to fly with all of the grace of a thrown brick.
Foxes went, "Do you have a flag?" And that was it for Australia.
Oh,
Poor Courtney. She showed up the wrong day.
I imagine if you dropped something emu-sized from orbit, at the end, if you could safely capture it again, it would probably be nicely roasted.
It'd be roasted. You're going to need some Cajun seasoning for that.
Raptor, no one's going to believe that. The emu, the F4 Phantom of the
The Phantom. Proof that if you stick enough, glue enough engines to it, even a brick will fly.
So here, what I'm hearing is we have to glue some engines to the emus.
Duct tape, baling wire.
I'm not
it's
sure
all
duct
good.
tape is up to this. I think this is a job for Gorilla Glue.
Grab a Jado bottle and some duct tape and buy emu. Now the landing is going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. An emu will fly via Boeing. Very true, Sean. I'm not sure how Boeing would feel about it.
Don's here. Don, why are you letting whitetails get into mule deer territory? You're going to be out of mule deer here pretty quick.
That was, like I said, the mule deer was up closer to where she actually lives. The whitetail were down in the canyons. So we were quite a ways away.
Yeah, but when whitetail get into mule deer territory, they drive up mule deer.
Mule deer are bigger. I don't know how that works.
Whitetails are a lot more adaptable.
Dawn says they've always had both. So
Cooeys. I wouldn't mind whacking at cooeys. They're good eating. Trying to get a Texas has axis deer. They're an exotic species, so there's no hunting season. And
the Barbary goats.
Goat. Goat. Anyway, there's some axis deer down here, and they're exotics. There's no hunting season, and they got out of the high fence ranches.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually have axis deer, and we have a free ranging population of axis deer.
Yeah.
And I would dearly love to get one of those.
I think the rant was the 8 a.m. charity call.
Yes. Those of you just now showing up,
We'll reprise the rant.
We'll reprise this. 8:01 this morning. Well, first off, one of you Weisenheimers signed me up for the mailing list on a Monkey Rescue Foundation charity. And apparently Thursday was their donation drive day. So at 8:01 this morning, I get a perky phone call that I thought was one of you jokers taking a piss. So I figured, okay, it's 8:01. I haven't had my coffee. I'll show somebody. And I went off on my normal monkey thing. And I realized about 5 or 10 minutes into this, right after I described the sound a monkey makes after you launch him out of an air cannon into a barrel, pong, and I heard choked back tears on the phone, I realized that it wasn't a joke. I was actually talking to some unpaid college girl intern for the Monkey Rescue Foundation. She's going to need so much therapy. Although personally, when I got to the bit about they make sucky oven mitts, because you take your hand out, you turn them inside out, and she didn't hang up, I got to give her props for that.
Oh, this poor child.
He's committed, or will be shortly.
I hope the Monkey Rescue Foundation, or whatever the hell its name is up for the therapy bill she's going to need, because it was some of my best work. 5 or 10 minutes about monkeys. She couldn't get a word in edgeways and didn't hang up.
Ag Tiger, the telemarketer can walk it off, unlike the monkey.
If the monkey walks it off, I need more pressure. I need more PSI. Oh no, she was a true believer. She was all about saving the monkeys, and it started out with asked if I would donate $50 to save monkeys from labs. And I responded I would donate $100, put more monkeys in more labs. And then I went down, then it just went downhill from there.
Oh. Yeah,
I was half asleep and the filters were not active.
which is probably also why you answered the phone in the first place.
No kidding. No kidding.
So I'm kind of half-heartedly job hunting, and I'm being picky. I've had a couple of interviews. One of them I would have liked to have had, but they couldn't afford me. And then the other one that I interviewed for last week is I might have ethical issues working there. So if they do get back to me
Fuck the monkeys.
It's not monkeys.
Oh, okay. Well, then we got problems. Never use a dog when you can send a monkey.
But because my resume is all over the place out there, I have been getting a lot of phone calls, which my phone service helpfully marks as spam risk.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't answer them. And then I get heavily accented voicemails asking me if I want to do a job that I would have done 7 years ago when I first got out of college, maybe for like a 3-month contract in 5 states away. And I'm like, are you serious? Why? I don't understand the point of the third-party random recruiters that call you and they ask you
Allegedly,
if you're interested.
It saves money.
It's like they ask you if you're interested in these jobs that are just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, because we're talking like minimum pay band for what I do and no experience required. And I'm not like senior, but I'm definitely mid-level in my experience band. And I have a decent resume with some stuff on it that a lot of people don't have. And they're asking if I'm interested in these jobs. They're like, no, I would never have been interested in this.
I wasn't interested in it. Last recruiter asked me about it.
Right. And I get like 6 calls from different recruiting agencies about the same damn job.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those, it's very frustrating because job hunting is hard enough these days.
Yeah. I
mean, we've got multiple friends that are trying to find jobs right now and listening to them gripe about it. And it's been my experience every time I've done this that it's just soul-sucking, grinding process, and it's not an easy thing for me to do to begin with, and then just making it so unpleasant. Mm-hmm. It's like
the last job I applied for, I sat in the interview. They're going, well, you're missing one thing we want. Look at the resume. Look at me. Are you sure you want to work here? Yeah. You're overqualified for my position. Uh-huh. And I applied for the job I applied for because I know what it entails. Mm-hmm. It's not enough to trigger my PTSD.
Yeah.
And it will pay enough for what the thing I needed. Look at the resume. Look at me. We can't afford to pay you what you're worth. I know what the going rate is. I'm aware. They just look so confused.
If y'all want a peek into the way my mind works, all the ladies have been talking about jobs, and I've been listening, and I can probably tell you what they said. In the back of my head, I just built a monkey cannon for the sole purpose of skipping monkeys across a lake like a stone.
That sounds like fun. There's a lake in Africa that if you disturb the waters, it boils off into carbon dioxide and you're dead.
Yep. Come here, children, Ian's sharing what's in his brain. Y'all have no idea. Y'all have no idea. I could get a pancake air compressor from Harbor Freight, and I could pop down to Dallas and get a monkey.
And pop would be the operative word.
Lake Arrowhead is still enough. I imagine I could probably get about 100 yards of skipping.
And then the catfish would be really happy with you. Because there's a bunch of big catfish in that lake. Yeah. And they're gar. I don't know how they feel about monkey meat, though.
They're gar. They don't care. It's protein. Pop is for the weasels. I have no issue with weasels. When I found out that the Native Americans believed the only thing that could kill a Wendigo was a weasel, and then in the index you found out how the weasel killed the Wendigo.
Oh, yeah. No, that's actually a recurrent theme in a lot of Native American mythology.
They understand weasels.
They understand vulnerability. So if something eats up from that end, you're not recovering from it.
You just get a part about driving like Arrowhead with a monkey in the passenger seat. My ass, he's going in the trunk. Tape the hood. I don't care either way. Tape the grill. Ook, 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 ook. If I could find a big enough swarm of grasshoppers, I could add 5 pounds to that monkey before I got to the lake.
Well, we were out hiking this weekend. So for those of you that probably had no idea, because I was kind of quiet about it, I was in the Comanche National Grasslands with Farm Girl as my native guide, which was a good thing because the trails in Picture Canyon are not well marked. But we had, as we're walking along, there's grasshoppers, just clouds of them. But among all of the ones that are flying away pretty well, I mean, as well as a grasshopper flies, there's these big, ugly ones that when I first caught it out of the corner of my eye, I thought it was a frog. Because they're kind of the same color and they move the same way. But the plains lovers. So, I mean, we're talking grasshopper that I could sit in my hand like a kitten. And I've got photos of me doing that, actually. And those things are just absolutely massive.
My favorite fishing spot out at Lake Arrowhead is covered in golden orb spiders.
Mm-hmm.
When you have to go down the hillside, and it's actually the tailings race for the dam.
Okay.
And you have to go down the hillside.
I haven't been over that.
And the golden orb will shake their webs at you. And I was headed down that way, and I stirred up those poor spiders. I stirred up a herd. I don't know. Of the grasshoppers,
a plague of locusts.
Yeah, the big frog-sized ones, and they were cutting through the
they will.
the orb weaver's webs. And just imagine the spiders going, fuck. that's a lot of energy to build up a web, and then some spiky big ass thing comes through it and tears all to hell.
Yeah.
And the big pink hairless ape is driving them in front of them. It's like, oh.
Yeah. So the big giant grasshoppers that I was seeing this weekend are called plains lubber. So, and lubber is a good word for what they do.
They're bloody huge.
Ag Tiger, I like your beginning of a children's story there. Kids are bloody-minded little creatures.
Yes, they are.
Do you not think that they would want to read that? They would.
People don't understand that the original fairy tales, not the Disney-fied versions that we read to kids now, original fairy tales were designed to scare the hell out of the kids and keep them out of the forest. They were bloody and they scared the crap out of people.
Yep.
I actually had it was an edition, it smelled really good, of a Victorian era edition of Grimm's fairy tales. Oh, holy shit!
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah. I have
scare the kids straight. Wah!
I have realized, sadly, as I was reorganizing my library and getting a good look at it, that I have somehow managed to mislay, from the looks of it, a box full of my fairy tale and mythology books, because I've been trying to collect the old versions because they aren't Disney-fied.
No, boy, they're not.
Woo!
No, the old fairy tales are bloody. They're cannibalistic and homicidal, and they scare the shit out of the kids.
They keep telling me that there's a tarantula migration, and I have not yet seen it, and I would like to.
Wait a couple of months or so. They'll come through.
I was waiting for it last year, and I never did see any.
Just because you're here. Just because you're here. Trash going, oh, no. Nope, we're moving around. We're going around that area. Gotta take our pictures.
Yes, I will. That's the fun thing, though, is I started taking pictures of bugs because I was taking pictures of flowers, and there's no challenge to that. Bugs move.
Yes, they do.
It wouldn't be as fun to shoot things that just lay there.
That's
Moving on.
That's what he said?
Moving on.
Yes, Andrew Lang, the Colored Fairy books are all in public domain, so you should be able to find them for free either on Amazon or at the very least Project Gutenberg. And if you prefer audiobooks to ebooks, LibriVox has most of the Colored Fairy Tale books as audiobooks. They're volunteer read, but some of the volunteer readers are very, very good.
Somewhere I bought Rita a book of fairies. And in this book of fairies, it's like somebody's reading a book and a little fluffy pixie lands on it, they slam it. And
The Smashed Fairy book.
yeah,
That is the best thing. I don't have a copy of that currently. I think I need to acquire that.
yeah, the book
It's
of
the
press
Book
fairies.
of Press Fairies.
Yeah.
Yes.
bought that for Rita. And
Oh, yes.
that's when she realized exactly who she'd taken up with.
I also imagine she really liked that.
And I figured out who I'd taken up with because she giggled through the whole thing.
Oh, that is great. Yeah, I was listening to a documentary on the history of photography and listening to it because I was working at the same time. But one of the things that they brought up was when people first figured out how to do double exposures. That's where all the infamous fairy photographs happened.
Yep.
And to this day, they're not sure if they were meant to be taken seriously, if somebody was seriously trying to be like, look, pictures of fairies, or if it was just someone having fun.
Someone having fun is what it was. I miss most of this.
Padre, you can always go back to the
Yeah,
beginning
nope.
later.
You
There will
go.
be a replay.
And it's been an interesting one. I bought that for Rita. And we were somewhere at Rita. We were at a some kind of used something or other, some antique store, and I found it in the back, and I started going through it. It's like, oh my god! So I bought it for Rita. And we were driving back, and she opened it, and she looked at me, and then she started giggling. It's like,
Yeah.
Yep. I picked a good.
Yeah, it is a great book. Definitely, again, like I said, with bloody-minded kids, that's a good one to have around as well.
Or bloody-minded adults.
I think it was.
We don't know any of those.
It might have been Differs and Kermit. It might have been your kids that I introduced to Calvin and Hobb, because I didn't realize that your kids hadn't read that. I think it was you guys as kids that I did that. It was either that or it was LaForce's kids, which
Either way.
He has it coming. Just saying.
well, I since then I have made an effort to pick up some children's classics to have in a corner of the bookshelves. So when I have young ones coming over, I'm not introducing them to possibly subversive stuff that their parents aren't ready for yet.
I grew up, and
It was their kids. I'm sorry.
when I was growing up, Chris and I, we had this selection of books, and it was a series, and it was about these two brothers, and I think in Australia, but don't quote me on that. And it was their adventures, and oh my God, they built radios, they shot things, they shot a lot of things, they boxed, they went rowing, they brewed ginger beer. And I was just thinking the other day that we couldn't publish that now. Amazon would slap a warning on it.
Maybe and maybe not. I actually think that that's something we should consider down the road. I published. I didn't do the editing for it or anything else, but I published for a friend an anthology called Adventure Stories for Young Readers, and it was his premise for all the stories, and I liked it. And this is why when his original publisher backed out, I went ahead and helped him out with it. But his premise for each story was that the protagonists had to be kids, and the protagonists had to have a happy family life, because so much children's literature in the modern era focuses on kids that are either they're doing adventurous things because the adults in their life are idiots or actually malevolent. So his premise was that he wanted to collect stories of kids that had support in their life. They had happy, healthy families. and then they had these adventures, but they had family support, and I really liked that concept because it's difficult to find in modern children's literature, partly because it's easy to precipitate a plot conflict by doing something bad to a child's family.
Lazy but easy.
Yeah, it's lazy but easy. So this is one of those things that I like the idea of doing, and this is, I illustrated your stories and the Africa Tales, because I think that those are really great, and I still want to talk you into doing a the Education of Law Dog series of stories, because unorthodox education is, I mean, because I was homeschooled, and I actually think that it has its merits, and we should be proponents for kids learning unorthodox skills.
And you can graduate with a high school diploma and an auditory exam showing where your hearing has been damaged.
Well, I mean, okay, so obviously we need to encourage kids towards proper PPE. My son walked into the room the other day and showed me the whole rig that he's got for welding this year. Mm-hmm. So he found a respirator that fits under the welding hood, and he's got over-the-ear headphones that sling around the back of the thing, mm-hmm. so he can have the hood on. I mean, his head's like gone. Welding hood and respirator and big earphones.
He needs every bit of that.
Yeah, that's absolutely. And he's got a leather welding cap that goes on to protect the hair, and a big leather welding jacket because the sleeves did not hack it. And he got burned a few times and decided he was going to buy himself a jacket.
Is he enjoying welding?
Very much.
Good.
Yeah. He's really got plans. I mean, he's 18. They'll last like 3 days, but I'm liking where some of his plans are going right now.
Dinner. Wait.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
We can do all of this, and I can do this, and I'm like, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Plans. Fuzzy sweater.
Right. Plans. I'm going to buy a $14,000 house in Electra. No.
Get the hell out of Electra. Get the hell out of Electra.
Oh. And then one's mother-in-law sees the glitter, makes assumptions, and you're in trouble all over fairy finger food.
Look, if you're fingering
you know, I don't even think I want to know the context.
I'm still not awake because I actually said that instead of just thinking it.
So you can get edible glitter. As a matter of fact, I've got some at home on the counter. And they're ladyfinger cookies. So now I'm thinking I might have to make fairy fingers for Saturday's supper.
I'm not going there. I was not going there.
You were thinking a different kind of ladyfingers?
No, I was thinking edible glitter and days
strippers?
as an E3 in Killeen, Texas, and we're just not going to go there.
Nope, we don't have to go there.
Nope.
The chat will go there all by themselves.
Yep. What's wrong with Electra?
Recipe for a drink that calls for edible glitter.
When I did your cake, there had to be.
There are generations of Army E3s that prove that most glitter is edible in one fashion or another.
Well,
I'm here to tell you.
Most glitter isn't going to do you any harm. It's just going to go right through. It's pretty inert. They
usually
make it out of mylar. So, what's wrong with Electra, Ian?
Everything. Woo, substitute for somebody else for once.
Oh.
Electra, no, just don't go there.
So here's the thing: is when you have a economically disadvantaged small town centered on an interstate, bad things come to that town.
Well, Electra is not exactly centered; it's off the interstate, bypassed it.
Yeah.
The main issues with Electra is that the people that left. They graduated high school and they went to college, and they wound up in big cities somewhere. Mm-hmm. And there are these itty bitty fish in these great huge ponds.
Yes.
And they were gone long enough. They earned some retirement, and they decided, I'm gonna go somewhere where I can be a big fish. So they come back to Electra to be a big fish in itty bitty pond, and they're morons. I shouldn't have said that.
No, but this also happens.
I apologize to morons everywhere.
are all things that happen because you get the brain drain where,
Yeah.
I mean, this is what
The
happened
ones,
in
the ones,
Scotland.
the ones that come back, folks come back and they have these plans for Electra that Electra can't support,
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
they come back to be somebody and then they don't do anything when they're
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah,
They get made somebody and they never do anything.
right. Because their plan was to get there. They didn't have a
Yeah.
plan for once they got
They
there.
never do.
Yeah. No,
I am an elected official. I'll do something.
Mhm.
What?
There's a book that I can't remember the name of, but basically it's how Scotland
Massive brain drain.
created the modern world, and
Yeah.
it talks
I got
about
that somewhere. I actually have that book.
yeah, it's a really good book. I just can't remember the title of it. Probably the chat will know. But it talks about the brain drain and how, I mean, there's some brilliant thinkers to kind of come out of Scotland,
Mhm.
but most of them came to the U.S. because there was nothing for them in Scotland,
Nope.
and they were second-class citizens, quite literally, to the rest of Great Britain and Ireland the same way. And looking at the Irish potato famine just recently because plants and farming and stuff, but talking about how much
How the Scots created a modern world. Yes.
yes,
That's the one. It's a good book.
excellent book. And but with the Irish potato famine and the British reaction to it that just made things worse, a lot of them Ireland was practically depopulated between people dying and people being shipped over mostly to the United States. So they're not all. There was evidently quite a few other places they went to. But
Australia.
yeah, Australia, Scotland, even Great Britain itself.
And the Highland clearances the British did
Yeah.
after the Scots got uppity a time or two, cleaned a lot of folks out of.
And the population of both of those places has never fully recovered.
Well,
So,
and in Scotland, the land hadn't recovered because the English brought in herd animals that destroyed the land.
yeah,
The sheep they brought in destroyed the Scottish Highlands.
yeah.
And-
Highlands do not, they're very slow growing and they're not going to recover very well from.
And the sheep eat roots and everything.
Mhm.
So, and the laws, as part of the clearances, the laws the British passed, they forbade the Scots. The Scots were a very proud, very martial group of yoiks, and the British were very clear that they could not carry guns, could not carry, even when the British still could, back when it was still sort of Great Britain.
Yeah.
That the Scots were forbidden from carrying any sort of blade or guns. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
When the average Brit could, the Scottish couldn't.
Yeah.
And this was part of their culture.
Mhm.
So they packed up and left.
Yeah, the other book that's really good on this is Thomas Sowell's Conquests and Cultures. It's excellent, and he really gets into some of the cultural things that led up to these becoming a crisis. Like in Ireland, the reason that there's such a divide between the Catholic and the Protestant is because education was pushed and more highly valued on the Protestant end. So when the potato famine came, the less literate did not thrive as well as the ones that had had the education background.
And they just kind of get uppity about that.
I mean, it's one of those things that you don't think about until somebody like Sowell, who's brilliant at pointing out the obvious. And
A brilliant thinker. That man.
yeah, no, I've been slowly working through all of his books and really enjoying it. But that one's nice and dense and chewy, and it'll take you literally all over the world in different cultures. His take on Africa is enlightening. So Africa's problem is geography.
Probably less acidic than mine.
Well, it's Sewell. I mean, you can read between the lines. There's times he gets downright acerbic for him, which is lovely. But Africa's problem is geography.
It's the sheer size of the place.
No, there's no navigable rivers, and most of the coastal ports and stuff are too shallow. Yeah. So you have a trade disadvantage, and it's a lot more labor intensive than where you have other parts of the world where you had nice deep rivers where you could navigate pretty far inland and do trades.
I'll give you that.
So he lays it all out. It's a really interesting take.
I would argue that the inbred's the wrong word. The endemic tribalism
No,
is probably a big one.
and he goes into that too, but his thing is that you wouldn't have that necessarily because you'd have more contact with the outside
Yeah.
if you did have the geography that allowed for easier travel into and out. And the other thing too is that because of how Africa with the diseases, which is another thing that's actually has to do with geography. So with all the disease that you have to deal with when you want to travel through until
And
modern
Africa
medicine.
is so bloody huge. People don't
Mhm.
understand how big Africa is.
Right, and it's not navigable, not easily.
Not easily at all.
So that was one of those things again that it seems like it's such an obvious like, oh right, that makes a lot of sense because it has a huge impact of how easy it is to trade. Of course, we're also seeing like with North America, we're realizing as we find certain things in archaeology that there was a lot of trade between North America and South America, even way before there was any colonial impact, which is fascinating because everybody was like, oh no, they couldn't. I mean, we're talking thousands of miles, and no, there's trade goods. So somebody was carrying it back and forth.
West Texas A&M has records of Comanche raids into the Yucatan Peninsula. These are raiding parties
Mhm.
as far as the Yucatan.
Yeah.
Back pre colonial whatever. The Comanches raided as far as Yucatan. Whee! Raid. So if they raid that far, they definitely traded that far. Just ask the Vikings.
Yeah. Well, this weekend, when we were doing the hiking in the canyon, there's a good-sized spring in Picture Canyon on the Comanche National Grasslands. And we were walking along the trail and into that, and there's the remains of a stone cabin, which would have been the last wave of settlement, the Europeans, because there's no dwelling places in there now. They run cattle through it, but nobody lives in the canyon. But there's also caves all over the place, some of which have actually been closed off because they were being vandalized, the petroglyphs in them.
People suck.
And people are awful, yes, but the thing is that before we have any kind of historical records, people have been using this canyon because it's got shelter from the caves, it's got water, which is huge in that area, and like I was pointing at the arrowroot plants, which is very tasty, nutritious food in the runoff below the spring, and of course we saw those nice white-tailed deer bouncing around, and I know there's a bunch of other game type animals. So if you had a nomadic tribe that would come in and stay there for a while, rest, recuperate, get ready to move on to the next watering hole, there's been people in there for as long as there have been humans in that area.
Well, you can see if you talk about archaeology, you can see the route from the Comanche grasslands to the Canadian River breaks, and then from Canadian River breaks to Palo Duro Canyon.
Yeah.
And then back again.
Yeah.
Just rotating through, because the thing that the Comanche National Grasslands, the Canadian breaks, and Palo Duro, they all have protection from the ever-present wind, high plains.
Yep.
They all have water, although the water in the Canadian is iffy at best.
Yeah.
They all have game, and they're a place to find shelter. So they would just move.
Yeah.
And then rotate and move again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so as we were hiking through the canyon, I was just really just feeling like I was in the presence of history. And I mean, when I got to go spend a little bit of time in England when I was a teenager, it was being able to walk through castles was really cool, but this is older than castles. This is, not as structural, but still.
As long as there's been people here, which, depending on who you talk to, goes back, 22,000 years they've been using. And we are way over time.
Yes, we are. Well, we started early too, so
yeah, and we
now
ran
we're
late.
now we're a little long on both ends.
All right, guys. Sorry, Kermit. I figured it out. I can't believe 27 people are watching, only 14 liked. Y'all just don't like us. I hate that.
Thanks for listening, folks. Do we have any announcements? I don't think so.
Courtney.
No, we don't.
Nope. Like, follow, and subscribe, and we'll
hit the bell.
Yeah.
Plan to go to Pecan
Yes.
in Irving, Texas, September 15th through the 17th.
Something
think
like that.
something like that.
Okay.
So it's P-CON, Pecan.
Pecan.
Yes.
Not pecan. That's a whole different. And we're going to look. We need to start, I think, thinking about a semi-professional, professional studio for this, because I was watching the girls trying to the issues.
What I think actually happened, and the reason that the microphone crapped out on the guys at the end of Tuesday, is I think there's a loose wire in the USB cable. So we're going to try replacing that, but at some point we're going to have to get a more professional setup. Yeah, it shouldn't be that terribly expensive to do, and there's a
No.
bunch of different options we can do.
We're going to need a studio.
So-
the way we're going, we're going to need a studio.
Yeah,
I hate to say that.
I think we're going to have to talk to Jack.
Yeah, I hate to
So-
say that, but I think we're going to see it. Anyway, we
Yes.
need to scoot. Y'all be safe, all right?
Bye now.